Thank you for joining us for the GE-Reagan Foundation Scholarship Program Awards Dinner. And if you have not yet found your seat, I'm going to ask you to please do so. And I'm also going to ask you to please turn off your cell phones. If you have a cell phone that's on, if I could ask you to turn that off. And then, once we do that, and we're going to get started here in just a minute. I would like to welcome Emily Webb, who is a rising senior at San Jose State University and an intern with our events team here at the foundation, and continuing in a tradition of wonderful and talented interns, who is going to come up and sing our national anthem. So if you could please rise and face the flag. And Emily, I will.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Emily, just one example of the marvelous interns that we have here. We have a great university intern program here at the library, and I'm sure over the course of the last couple of days you've had a chance to meet some of our interns who have been helping out with the various events. And just if you like to sing and you want to intern with us next summer, please consider coming back and visiting. So thank you very much, Emily. That was wonderful. Go ahead. We're now going to have dinner, and then once we finish with dinner, John Hybush is going to come up and we're going to continue the program. So enjoy your dinner.
Good evening, everyone. For those who haven't finished, please feel free to finish your meal. I was the first to finish. We had no food when I was growing up, so you had to grab for what you could grab. It's good to see that all of you enjoying a great meal under the wings of Air Force One. You probably don't do that often. Well, hopefully this is an image that will always remind you of your time here at the library and what you've learned in the last couple of days about our 40th president. I want to start by saying that joining us again tonight is the former First Lady of the State of California and one of your selection committee members, Mrs. Gail Wilson. Gail, where are you here? Please, Gail, welcome. The best First Lady the State of California has ever had. Also joining us tonight from GE is Peter Foss, the President of Olympic Sponsorship and Corporate Sales for GE. Peter, what table are you at? Over here. Peter, thank you for coming. If anyone here would like a free trip to London and free tickets to the Olympics, Peter would be happy to help you out. I'd also like to acknowledge that we have 3 members of your local university alumni associations: Georgetown University, the University of Virginia, and Pacific Union College. Thank you all for coming as well. If you'd raise your hands. I know we have our Georgetown guy here. Of course, this program, and I truly mean this, would not be possible without the tremendous support of GE. No way. As you saw last evening, Ronald Reagan and GE had a very deep history. The Reagan Foundation would like to recognize GE not only for its astounding financial contribution to help establish this program, but also its guidance in helping shape it and select this year's recipients. So it is my great pleasure, to introduce to you a member of our selection committee. His name is Gary Sheffer. He runs the best, and they received an award for this just a few months ago, the best public affairs, public relations department of any corporation in the United States. He's the Vice President of Communications and Public Affairs at GE, and he will give tonight's opening remarks. Gary?
As always, I'm a former journalist, so I always like to correct the facts. Yeah, exactly. We were named the best communications and public affairs team in the world, John, not just the United States. So, just want to set that straight. So, thanks for coming, and good evening to all of you. I think we're going to put up a slide here, and I hope you can see it. The picture you're looking at is of my mom, and it's actually my first piece of advice for the Reagan scholars here tonight. Be good to your parents because they mean well. My mother was the daughter of Italian immigrants. She was raised in a pool hall my grandfather owned in a small city in upstate New York, Hudson. She lived in Hudson all her life and raised 4 kids. And if you think the American dream is about having the freedom to pursue opportunity, you're sort of right. The real dream is watching your children have the freedom to pursue opportunity and accomplish great things. And that's why I know all of you parents here tonight must be so proud. It's also in part why I wanted to show this photo of my mom. In 1982, my mother visited the White House. My brother Ken worked on the National Security Council staff, and he brought our mom to the White House press briefing room, and he took her picture standing at the podium there. Then he sent the photo up through the White House staff in the hope that he might get President Reagan to sign it. He didn't have high hopes given the volume of requests that President Reagan received, and he wasn't expecting it to come back quickly. Maybe it would take a couple of weeks at best. But the very next day, one of those manila envelopes showed up in my brother Ken's office. He opened it, and he found what's on the screen, the picture of my mother with a personal inscription. To Rachel Sheffer, you would make a fine stand-in. Best regards, Ronald Reagan. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about why Ronald Reagan wasn't that far off, why in fact my mother would have been a good stand-in as White House press secretary. She was a clear thinker and tough-minded. Although I should add, at about 5 feet tall, if she were to stand in, they would have needed a new podium. I also want to talk about the lessons you can take from my brother's story, too. Specifically, I'd like to talk about the leadership traits of making human connections, optimism and confidence, and finally, wanting to be in the game. But first, I'd like to begin by telling you a little bit about GE's relationship with Ronald Reagan. In the summer of 1954, Ronald Reagan, at the time a broadcasting and film star and renowned head of the Screen Actors Guild, started a new phase in his career. He started working at GE. At the time, GE was having a hard time deciding who would be the best public face of the company. We were looking for someone who had the skills of a good salesman and showman, someone who could do more than entertain people, but inspire them, someone who possessed that quality of character known as moral fiber. The answer was Ronald Reagan. And from 1954 to 1962, he hosted General Electric Theater, a drama series that aired Sunday nights on CBS. But that's not all we did, or maybe I should say that's not all we made him do. We were smart. We were going to get our money's worth. And as part of his contract, Ronald Reagan became an employee ambassador, traveling all around the country to our different sites. He did it with great energy. He'd ride on trains to visit GE plants, speaking hundreds of times to tens of thousands of workers. He started at dawn and would get to his hotel after midnight. And then he'd get up the next day and do it all over again. Mr. Reagan walked every assembly line at GE, every single one, close to 140 different plants. He had lunch with employees in the cafeteria. He wowed managers. He impressed our customers. He did all of this by demonstrating a trait common to all great leaders. He didn't just talk, he listened. In fact, he later described the experience as, quote, almost a graduate course in political science. It's true. GE saw his roving ambassadorship as a way to engage with its workforce. Reagan saw it as an education. So who got the better end of this business relationship? Was it GE for getting its high-profile spokesperson, or was it Reagan for getting his education? I say the answer is our country. Why? Because the education of Ronald Reagan obtained changed history. Talking to GE employees started a transformation that turned Reagan from an entertainer into a champion of freedom and eventually leader of the free world. It informed his views about things like how government can encourage or obstruct the initiative and entrepreneurship of the American people. And it's a tremendous source of pride for us at GE that our employees literally played a role in shaping what was President Reagan's defining optimism. Optimism in what the American worker could accomplish, optimism in what our country stood for and still does, optimism that we can compete with anyone and win. But we can't do any of that if we hide our problems, if we kick the can down the road, if we face great challenges with only posturing and paralysis. And that's another way of saying, whether in business or the public sector, yes, we need ideas. Yes, we need the courage to try new things. Yes, we need to try to do things differently. And yes, we need to work together. But mostly, we need leaders. Leaders like Reagan and leaders like the ones I know you all will become. That's why we sponsor the GE-Reagan Scholarship. It's why we're so invested in your potential and in your future. So what exactly then are the attributes of great leadership? I don't pretend to know them all, but I will share a few insights, things that I see or that I've learned over the years. The first is the lesson my mother took from that photo. She liked Reagan before. She was enamored with him after. When my brother gave the photo to my mom, it was one of the happiest moments of her life. She displayed it in our family room for 25 years until her death, partly because she was so proud of my brother, but also because President Reagan, someone who seemed so untouchable, made a personal connection. There's a great story about Ronald Reagan and a letter that he received from a 7th grader back in 1984. The boy wrote, "Today my mother declared my bedroom a disaster area. I would like to request federal funds to hire a crew to clean up my room." And Reagan actually wrote him back, "Your application for disaster relief has been duly noted, but I must point out one technical problem. The authority declaring the disaster is supposed to make the request, in this case, your mother." The letter continued, "I'm sure your mother was fully justified in proclaiming your room a disaster. Therefore, you are in excellent position to launch another volunteer program to go along with the more than 3,000 already underway in our nation. Congratulations, sincerely, Ronald Reagan." So It's clear Ronald Reagan had a great wit. He was a great storyteller. But the foundations of these talents was an understanding that great leadership requires an ability to make a human connection. Only with that can you motivate and inspire people to act. Leaders have a realistic sense of optimism and confidence. Ronald Reagan took over at a time when Americans weren't feeling too good about ourselves. In fact, in 1980, America was experiencing something Ronald Reagan knew was not natural to the American character, a crisis of self-doubt, shrouded in the lingering shadows of Vietnam and Watergate, suffering from stagflation, an energy crisis, the outrage of U.S. hostages in Iran, and worried as our Cold War enemies went on the offensive. But his most important presidential achievement cannot be attributed to the effect of his policies alone. We live in a partisan world, and people will always debate that. But no one questioned the strength of his faith in his country and its ideals, the faith which he communicated to his fellow Americans by word and deed and inspiration. Ronald Reagan's greatest achievement was to encourage Americans to believe in ourselves again. It's a different time, but we face difficult challenges today. GE is trying to tackle many of these. How do we improve the quality and cost of access of healthcare around the world? How do we provide customers and communities with the power they need to be productive in a world where resources are so stretched? How do we make travel safer and more efficient? What if my boss, Jeff Immelt, the CEO, went around and said, "Boy, those are tough problems. I wish we could do something about them." I don't think our customers would be our customers for too long, and I know our employees would not be inspired. Instead, we like to say that GE works. We move, power, build, and cure the world. We do things that matter. Like Edison, you remember Thomas Edison, who said, "I see what the world needs and I proceed to invent it." We still say that today, 130 years later. We look at what the world needs. We believe there's a better way. We have a relentless drive to invent, and we're confident in our ability to make the world better. And you can't lead without confidence. People don't want to follow finger pointers, and they won't for long. They follow problem solvers. As President Reagan said, if you're afraid of the future, then get out of the way, stand aside. The people of this country are ready to move. And that brings me to the last point I want to make. You have to want to be in the game. I mentioned the lesson from my mother, and I think my brother offers a lesson too. He, like me, went to a small but terrific college, Siena. So go Saints. I got Siena in here. Like me, he got hooked on politics and in school was in the Model UN and debate club. He was the president of his senior class. When he graduated, he got in his car, well, actually it was my mother's car, with very little money and no job, and drove to Washington and volunteered for the Reagan campaign. He started as a gopher and as a mailroom boy. By inauguration, he was on the National Security Council staff. And soon after that, he had enough cachet to one-up his brother forever by getting our mom, Ronald Reagan's signature. Today, he is a senior leader at the Heritage Foundation, an influential think tank in Washington. You don't have that kind of career, you don't have those kinds of experiences, you can't contribute to the most of your abilities if you're on the sideline. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to work in the public sector. What it means is find a place where you can feel like you can make an impact and get in the game. I know that's something you'll do. Through the scholarship program, I've had the great fortune of reading, through your essays, the aspirations of some of the most amazing young people from across our country. I've been able to talk to some of you. I remember Ricky, who's at my table tonight. I was talking to her about her view of leadership, and she said to me, "Leadership is not about knowing everything, it's about always being willing to learn." And I said, wow, that is pretty cool, right? We had sort of reversed roles, right? The student had become the teacher. And then I thought, man, why wasn't I that smart and focused when I was your age? But she was right. President Reagan reminded us that one of the worst mistakes that anyone can make is to bet against Americans. I think he would be proud to know that it would be just as much of a mistake to bet against the scholars whose program share his name. In the world of business, you can't afford to make too many bad bets. That's why, for our part, GE invests in this program. And for your part, keep taking inspiration from what made President Reagan such a remarkable leader. The ability to make human connections, a realistic sense of optimism and confidence, and a belief in your ideals and the relentless drive to get in the game, contribute, and make an impact. If you do this, I know you will become the leaders we need. Thank you and congratulations.
Thanks, Gary. Best in the world, As I mentioned, Gary and Gail served with me on the selection committee, along with two of our other colleagues, Michael Castine, who's one of the trustees at the Reagan Foundation, and a fellow by the name of Alex Dmitriev, who is the vice president and senior counsel for litigation and legal policy at GE. Unfortunately, Michael and Alex couldn't be here tonight, but they joined us in what I know they felt, just like we did, was an incredibly enjoyable task of meeting you first on paper and then on Skype or on the phone. Suffice it to say, we were thoroughly impressed with your leadership, drive, integrity, citizenship that each of you displayed at such a young age. In our second year of the GE-Reagan Foundation Scholarship Program, as I said last night, we received nearly 10,000 applications from qualified students across the United States. We asked them all about their leadership at school, in their community, in the workplace, and at home. We received remarkable stories of leadership and service that grew our confidence in the future of our nation. After an extensive and thoughtful selection process, 15 exemplary students rose to the top. That's you. I want to congratulate each of you for being among the few individuals to hold the distinction of being a GE-Reagan Scholar. I hope you accept this honor proudly and serve as an ambassador for the vision, character, and ideals of President Reagan. May tonight motivate you to continue to lead and serve in college and beyond, and pursue a life of prosperity and service for yourselves, your family, your peers, and your community. I'd like to ask Tony Penne and our other selection committee members to come up and help me recognize each of you individually. If you please come forward.
Okay, so let me just explain to our scholars what's going to happen here. So in a minute, I'm going to call your name and say a few nice things about you. We've condensed all of the things that you've done down to the kind of abridged version. Otherwise, we would be here till early next year. But then you're going to come up on stage, and our selection committee, we have our awards for you. You're going to be handed it, and then we're going to pause for a second for a photo opportunity. So you guys feel you probably had about 10,000 photos taken of you in the past 2 days, but just one more. So when I call your name, please come to the stage to be recognized and receive your award. So first, Ricky and Joran. So, guided by the words of the President of the Republic of Liberia, if your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. Ricky works to make an impact in her community and the world. Her involvement with Dustin's Greenhouse Globetrotters has allowed her to travel to Peru, where she spent time volunteering in a local orphanage and for medical clinics held throughout the city. Working as a project manager for the organization Wine to Water, Ricky holds fundraisers to purchase water filters and raise awareness to provide clean water to impoverished countries. Ricky's ability to manage and organize were also evident in the leadership positions she held at her high school, where she organized events such as the prom, appealed to administrators on behalf of the student body, and planned highway and campus cleanup days, as well as hosting fundraising events. From High Point, North Carolina, Ricky plans to attend the University of Virginia. Stephen Ash. Possessing natural leadership abilities and a desire to serve his fellow man, Stephen says, "I believe that the greatest leaders are those who understand the need for people to unite and serve one another. I seldom feel better in my heart than when I am serving." Stephen practices these principles as a captain of his football, basketball, and track and field teams, as well as in missions. Stephen embarked on to Kenya, Russia, and the Dominican Republic. School staff were duly impressed by Stephen's maturity, character, integrity, and his ability to motivate others, whether he's coaching the middle school track team or encouraging his team in football to never give up. From Belton, Texas, Stephen plans to attend the University of Mary Hardin, Baylor. Gregory Boyer. Personal tragedy did not derail Gregory. On the contrary, it has only served to strengthen him. As an Eagle Scout with 2 palms, he believes that disaster does not disable true leaders and that leadership is a choice. In addition to his superior academic achievements, Gregory has gone on mission trips, participates in an award-winning puppetry ministry for his church, is the captain of his track and field team, is an auditorium technician where he serves as assistant manager and plays in the Greencastle Antrim Concert Band. He was selected by his high school administration and counselors to be a peer leader for 3 consecutive years. Gregory pursued advanced education by taking early to college courses and worked 35 hours a week to pay for them. From Greencastle, Pennsylvania, Gregory plans to attend Liberty University. Charlotte Cherry. While Charlotte excels in a myriad of activities such as academics, choir, varsity volleyball, teaching English to international students, and teens taking action, to name a few, the various film projects Charlotte has created have allowed her to express her passion and leadership the most. As the only youth member of the Sister City Commission, she led and directed a documentary about how her city developed a relationship with its sister city in Ghana. Charlotte won the Chicago International Film Festival Youth Award for a music video and the Adrenaline Film Festival Runner-Up Jury Award, where her team produced a film chosen by a panel consisting of directors and producers of famous movies. From Charlottesville, Virginia, Charlotte plans to attend Georgetown University. Anthony Hadford. A recipient of the Horatio Alger National Scholar Award, the President's Volunteer Service Award, the Prudential Spirit of Community Award, the Heights School 2012 Headmasters Award, and an AP Scholar Honor, Anthony has distinguished himself as a powerhouse of service both to his school and his community. He's responsible for reviving his school's service club, where he put in countless hours in organizing projects to support a local institution for children with Asperger's syndrome. He also organized a weekly Big Brother program for this institution, as well as regular visits to a local home for the elderly. Anthony has accomplished all this while fully paying for his tuition at his private school. What was his motivation? He says, "I had a vision, a hunger to see improvement in my life. I dreamt of ways of achieving a meaningful life, of engaging in activities where I would make a positive difference in the lives of others, where I would contribute to my family's living expenses and earnestly pursue academic achievement." From Vienna, Virginia, Anthony plans to attend the University of Virginia. Katie Harding. Realizing how fortunate she was in receiving constant support during her upbringing and schooling, Katie desired to give to others some of the good fortune she felt she had for herself. "It has become a constant goal of mine to make myself available to others and to offer to assist those around me in need," she said. To that end, Katie found a peer-led tutoring program to provide support to fellow students who might not have had it otherwise, resulting in a well-respected program that has helped Katie's personal growth as well as other students' academic growth. A sampling of Katie's other volunteering activities involved helping beautify inner-city areas, participating in canned food drives, being a teacher's assistant, caring for the homeless, and caring for the elderly. From Litchfield Park, Arizona, Katie plans to attend Northern Arizona University. Mr. Kyle Hosley. Personal tragedy at an early age molded Kyle into a highly motivated person who was determined to succeed and flourish. Not only did he choose to take greater responsibility at home, but he also eventually improved his community by founding the Child Negligence Awareness Program through his church to address child neglect and to help children find solutions to issues they face. Kyle says, "By creating this program, I have seen a strong change in my community. This shows that an ounce of care can go a long way, and a simple 'I love you' can help a child make it through situations they never thought they were capable of persevering." Kyle founded the Student Awareness Club, a place students could discuss issues and receive tutoring, as well as his school's debate club, book club, and pre-law club. Kyle has demonstrated his leadership skills in sports, clubs, and numerous service functions. From Calumet City, Illinois, Kyle plans to attend the University of California, Berkeley. Brianna Hunter. According to Brianna, a leader must act how he or she wants others to act. In other words, if you want everyone else to be responsible and positive, you must be responsible and positive yourself. By behaving pleasantly and respectfully, helping others, Brianna has improved the attitudes and performance of her fellow students as co-captain in the school marching band, and she's found that a positive and outgoing approach at work keeps her customers coming back. While excelling in her academic performance in all subjects, participating in many activities, and working over 45 hours per week, Brianna has also found the time to volunteer 500 to 600 hours each for the home and volunteer care for the disabled and the home care for the elderly, while contributing 800 hours to babysitting. From Heflin, Alabama, Brianna plans to attend Auburn University. Aaron Quenold. Aaron works hard not only to excel academically, but to keep his small school open, which he helps accomplish by offering his tutoring services in math. As the highest scorer in math in his school, Aaron has been able to report success in this endeavor for 2 years running. He's the captain of the varsity wrestling, tennis, volleyball, cross country, and its academic quiz teams. He has maintained MVP status for wrestling, volleyball, and tennis. He has volunteered 900 hours to the Leo Club and keeps a stellar academic record, all while working 40 hours a week. Aaron feels his school is important and is a positive driving force in motivating other students and working to make his school the best it can be. Aaron feels that to maintain the level of reverence and respect which we have now, I have to instill in my team that you cannot expect to do well in anything unless you give it your best and most valiant effort. No doubt he does just that. From Ocala, Hawaii, Aaron plans to attend the University of California, Davis. Sumin Sophia Kwan. While Sophia maintained a perfect GPA and excelled in many roles, such as class president, assistant concert master for the Georgia Youth Symphony Orchestra, Choi Kwang-do martial arts, and multiple church activities, the common thread was the spirit of service woven through each and every activity. Family comes first, and our community is family. These were her father's words, and he taught her at an early age to serve, which is at the forefront of Sophia's approach to life. She taught her classmates to serve on a regular basis, and thereby transformed her class and eventually her school with the force of her convictions. Outreach programs and organizations were begun to aid the elderly, children, unite different church groups, and address racial equality issues. Sophia will continue to serve in all her future endeavors. From San Bernardino, California, Sophia plans to attend Pacific Union College. Ronak Patel. While Ronak could justifiably feel a sense of accomplishment with his placement in local, state, and national academic competitions, he feels that one of life's greatest rewards is in the service one does for others. Gandhi said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others," and Ronak strives to incorporate the meaning of these words into his life. To that end, he credits his 800 hours of volunteering with the East Tennessee Children's Hospital and over 200 hours with the Big Brother Buddy program as helping him become who he is today while helping those in need around him. One of the greatest privileges Ronak has had in high school is the ability to conduct graduate study research at the University of Tennessee. He did research in the fields of organic chemistry and molecular biology, which helped him choose his career path, as well as academically challenged his mind. He plans to continue doing research as an undergraduate in college and hopes to one day find a cure for cancer. From Knoxville, Tennessee, Ronak plans to attend the Ohio State University. Megan Pham. Megan discovered she had the power to help others when, unbeknownst to her, she saved another student's life simply by acknowledging that student over a several-day period. While she noticed her tendency to seek out and befriend students that sat alone, it was this experience that catalyzed her efforts to a whole nother level. "I do it because it gives me a larger platform to make a difference," Megan says. "So now I advocate for the voiceless students, those that are often overlooked." In her freshman year, Megan created a sidewalk art fair to highlight student talents who didn't get much acknowledgement. She sees the student whose life she saved participate each year. She later created a spirit group called Red Wave that cheers at every student function, leading her school to win the Most Spirited High School in the Nation award. From Temecula, California, Megan plans to attend the University of Southern California. Lauren Pugh. Lauren has learned about leadership both through her volunteer work and her 35 hours per week spent as a manager at Panera Bread. Supervising others, handling customers, and training others has taught me how to communicate my ideas efficiently and effectively, says Lauren. She was selected for an internship at Congressman Stephen LaTourette's district office, during which he noted, "Lauren is a hard-working self-starter. She's very organized and has the ability to grasp complex situations and to develop a plan to address the issue." Lauren has continued to hone her leadership skills as president of her school's United Way Club and other clubs, as well as her service with the homeless. The respect and kindness she has brought prompted one homeless man to tell her, "God bless your beautiful soul." Her experiences have taught her many useful lessons she will continue to apply in the future. From Perry, Ohio, Lauren plans to attend the Ohio State University. Hanan Ali Yahya. Although Hanan was actively involved as president of her school's student government and National Honor Society, and captain or co-captain of the varsity volleyball, basketball, and cross-country teams, her passion lies in improving the world around her through service, wisdom, and integrity. Through the organization Join In to Revitalize Arab American Neighborhoods, she has participated in a project known as Youth Dialogue, which seeks to eliminate misconceptions concerning minorities through interactive discussions and activities. The results of these discussions were published in many forms of media and even impressed a Japanese broadcasting company. Hanan also participated in a youth summit that was later covered in television interviews. She is currently developing a youth dialogue program that will expand beyond the existing program's current reach. From Detroit, Michigan, Hanan plans to attend the University of Michigan. And while he is not with us tonight, I did want to take a moment to recognize Dalton Meyer, who is our 15th scholar. According to Dalton, leadership is an action, not a position. Dalton's life is an example of these words. He was the captain of his football, baseball, and wrestling teams, and president of numerous youth boards and councils statewide, because he believes that students need to look beyond themselves to help impact change in the lives of others. He also organized and conducted the first Nebraska Youth Summit with the goal of empowering youth to take a stand and be more involved in their communities. From Elm Creek, Nebraska, Dalton is now attending the United States Air Force Academy, where he started basic training yesterday. So. Turn it back over to John.
Thanks, Tony. And congratulations to all of our 2012 Reagan Foundation, GE-Reagan Foundation Scholarship Program recipients. A round of applause for all of you. Well, I hope that you'll agree that the talent and drive present in this room tonight is a testament to both the legacy of President Reagan and the strength of our nation's future leadership. I want to thank all of you, including the parents and friends, for joining us at this special place in honor of a very special man and some very special people. On behalf of our friends at GE, we wish you all the best as you take your leadership and service to respective campuses this fall. We hope this is just the start of a very long relationship between you, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation, and GE. Thank you very much. Have safe travels. It's just been terrific to have you all here.
One final announcement. So what we're going to do now is we want to take a group photo with the scholars here on stage along with our selection committee members with the lovely backdrop, the mural of the flying White House. And while we're doing this, please feel free if you haven't finished your dessert yet to finish that. And parents, before you leave, I believe the shuttles are scheduled to be here in about 15, 20 minutes or so. But please make sure you pick up. We have a gift for each of our scholars. We also have a box that will allow you to safely transport that glass trophy thing that you have just received. And other than that, have a great night. Safe travels home. So scholars, if you could please come up here.